live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Budapest here in Central Europe. I hope everybody is having a fantastic week. In this class, we are looking at Task 1 writing of the academic version of the IELTS exam. Specifically, we're going to look at some pie chart comparison type question. This is a members chat class. I can see Gunkai Ren and Preeti Sina are in the class. That's fantastic. Hello, students. And to become a member, click the join button beside the subscribe button on the channel. If you don't see that, send me an email. I can help you out. While we wait for some more members to join in, a little bit about us. These lessons are brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Make sure to join our premium packages there. And for the general version of the exam, please visit us at gieltshelp.com. That's general IELTS help.com. On both of these websites, we have loads of great materials for you. The academic aehelp.com looks like this. Click that big red button to join there. Get practice exams, over 100 hours of HD lesson videos with me, as well as other teachers, and a fully interactive course. For the general version, go to gieltshelp.com with the green background and click that big red button there. Students, you can get our apps also, Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help from your Google Play, Apple App Stores. And again, if you have questions about how to become a YouTube channel member or about our premium products, send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. I will happily answer your questions. Students, right now, task 1, this class will be followed in 90 minutes by listening parts 3 and 4, continuing from yesterday. Everybody can join the chat in that class. Hi, Amira. And then we have classes tomorrow. Members, we will have a Q&A session before I go on away for a few days. And then we will have a speaking part 3 session for everyone. Again, no classes from 31st to the 5th. And then I'll be back on the 6th with speaking part 1 for everybody. All right. Without further ado, let's get into today's Task 1 writing question. Members, Hayek done. So again, today's class, we're focusing on Task 1, Academic IELTS. If you're a General IELTS student, it's still not a bad idea to learn how to write expository essays, but you will have a different question, which will be writing a letter or writing an email. It's more of a narrative style writing. So General IELTS students, your task 1 is different than this, okay? All right, let's get into it. So IELTS task 1 writing, of course, first read the question carefully. The following chart shows data for reasons people migrate to and from the United Kingdom in a given year. Report the main features and make comparisons where relevant, okay? The word migrate simply means to move from one location to another. Birds migrate to different parts of the world, and humans will, of course, migrate as well. If you think of the word immigration, right? Immigration. Then you have the prefix im. You have the root migrate, and then shen, which gives the suffix and the word form. Migrate just means to move. Im means to, okay, like in, immigrating to a country, into a country. So if you're going from India to Canada and you're immigrating, it means you're immigrating to Canada. And you're emigrating from, right? That's the other word, emigrate. Emigrate means to exit, to leave, okay? Emigration, okay? So immigrate, to move into, emigrate, to leave from, all right? And notice the difference in the spelling. So emigrate, you just have the E for exit. Immigrate, you have an extra M. Okay, so careful with the spelling. Okay. And pay attention to how you use it. Okay. If you say I'm immigrating from India, that's awkward. You need to say I'm emigrating from India. Okay. I'm immigrating to Canada. All right, students. So here is the pie chart for today. Let's take a look at this in a bit more detail. So here we go. Hopefully that's quite clear for everyone. I'm getting over a little bit of a cold, so I apologize if I'm coughing a bit. I'm going to try to keep that to a minimum. It's challenging while speaking. All right. So main reason for migration to and from the UK, United Kingdom, in 2007, we have two pies. These pies are three-dimensional. They're colorful. You can see color on the computer-based exam, not on the paper-based exam. So here we go. First pie chart is immigration. So we have the percentages, and then we have emigration. In the first pie chart, are people going out of UK or are people going into the UK for this one? So let's call this pie chart 1. In pie chart 1, is this showing data for people going into the UK or leaving the UK? And here's pie chart 2. Okay, so pie chart 1, immigration, people leaving the UK, or is it people going to the UK? Just want to make sure who's following me here. Hi, Kesey. Hi, Jaskaran. Hi, Sergey. I see more of our members jumped in now. That's great. So if this pie chart is showing reasons for immigration to the UK, are people moving to the UK or are they moving away from the UK? Okay, Amira says that the first pie chart means that they're going to the UK. That's right. Okay, so here it's reasons why people are going to the UK. Okay, so people go to the UK. All right. So clearly this one is why people leave the UK, okay? So the second one is leave. That's very important. I mean, if you have this question in the real IELTS exam and you're confused about that, your essay is going to really sound weird and off, okay? So you have to be very clear on which is which, okay? So, great. Let's begin the overview. So, take a glance at this, right? We'll go back to the question. So notice this. Oh yeah, and of course we have our reasons here. Let's make sure we don't ignore that. So the blue slice means formal study, like university, school. Green, definite job. It means they already have a job offer. Accompany or join, what do you think that means? So if you saw this pie chart and you see this red square in the legend, which of course refers to this slice here and this slice here, and it says accompany and join. What do you think they mean by that? So what does the accompany and the join refer to in this pie chart? Okay. Preeti, I'm not changing class times. I'm just not going to be here from the 31st to the 5th. But otherwise, the class times are the same for now. Okay, so Amira is correct. Charlie, it's not join a company. That wouldn't make sense. Join a company means definite job. Okay, so this is what you're thinking, Charlie Sen. Amira is correct. Accompany or join. Accompany would mean that they're going with their family. So they're going with their father, mother, brother, wife, husband. Okay, so that would be accompany. Or join means they're unifying the family, like they're going to be with their wife or their husband or their family who is already in the UK. Okay, yeah, so it's to be with one's relatives. Careful about that, okay? Again, make sure you're clear on this information before you start writing sentences. Okay, then we have no reason stated. Okay, so the people interviewed didn't answer that question. Looking for work, which is yellow, and then other, which is purple, meaning that it's another reason. All right, so altogether 6 different reasons. Sure. We looked at the question. We looked at the pie charts. Now we can write the overview. Let's do it. So as you know, the overview should be a paraphrase of the question with more details. And we've talked lots about this, so I think most of you are on par with me here. So overview is the same as the introduction, students. I was very surprised that somebody said to me that their teacher said the overview and the introduction is different. It's not. Okay, so the overview, paraphrase with details. Please do that, members. So paraphrase this question and add some details from the graph, okay? Okay, so here I'll show you the graph again to give you some more ideas. I'll give you a couple second head start, and then I'll write as well. Okay, so clearly 2 pie charts, one showing immigration, the other showing emigration, 6 reasons that are noted. Okay, and it's in the year 2007, United Kingdom. Okay, I'm going to write as well. Hint, hint, I gave you some good information there. Okay, so all right. Ferdavs, Nabiev, I love how you're always on it, Ferdavs. That's great. So Ferdavs says these 2 pie charts depict 6 main categories for immigration and emigration to and from the UK with percentages in 2007. Very nice. I like, Ferdavs, how you added in the with percentages. So we don't know the number of people interviewed or surveyed, but we know that it's the percentages. Okay, that's great. Nice start, Ferdavs. Just one correction, Ferdavs. It's to and from. Okay, so to and from the UK. All right, quite similar to mine. I kept mine fairly simple as well, but with more detail. So these 2 pie charts depict the 6 reasons stated for immigration and emigration to and from the United Kingdom in 2007. Another way you could say it, Ferdavs, to keep it simpler, is for immigration and emigration in the UK with percentages in 2007. Okay, otherwise it's good. Charlie Sen says the following 2 pie charts describe the proportion of 6 reasons why people immigrated to the UK as well as emigrated from the UK. So Charlie, not bad, just a little bit of correction, okay? 6 reasons why people immigrated to the UK as well as emigrated from the UK. You can use the past tense there, Charlie, because it's in 2007, right? Yextan, these 2 pie charts depict the amount of people who immigrated to and from the United Kingdom for 6 reasons in 2007. Yextan, it's United Kingdom. It's 2007, okay? And it's not amount because we don't know the number. It's percentages, as Ferdavs correctly pointed out, okay? Kesey says these 2 pie charts represent the percentage of people who immigrated and emigrated to and from the UK in 2007 for 6 reasons. Beautiful, clean, accurate writing, Kesey. Well done. That's a band 9 level start to this task 1. Good job, Kesey. Pat yourself on the back. Amira says these two pie charts depict the 6 different causes why UK citizens moved to and from the United Kingdom in 2007. Okay, Amira, good. You don't need to repeat the name of the country twice. So you can just say, Amira, these two pie charts depict the 6 different causes why citizens move to and from the United Kingdom in 2007. Okay, Amira? So just once is enough. All right? In English, most of the time you don't need to repeat subjects or nouns within the same sentence most of the time, okay, in good writing. All right, Gunkai Ren, the pie charts display factors for people's immigration and emigration from and to the UK in 2007. Gunkai Ren, I really like your originality. That's a very nice original sentence and almost perfect, okay? Gunkai Ren, the pie charts display 6 factors for people's immigration and emigration from and to the UK in 2007. Nice job, Gunkai Ren. All right, one more sentence for the overview, right? Which is the most observable feature, okay? So let's take a look. What is that? What is, just by looking at the chart here, what is the most observable feature? So what can we say about this? I think there is a very clear observable feature just by one eye shot here, for sure. Let's see if we agree what that is. Okay, you should always try to have unanimous thinking with your classmates or others on what that main feature is. If 4 or 5 of you say the same idea, then we know it's probably the main feature here. Okay? So what do we recognize right away when we look at this chart? Okay. Okay, good. So Amira says it looks like job is the main reason for movement to and from the country, right? Okay. Yextan agrees. So Yextan says, look at those big green slices. Those definitely amount to most if we think about both of these together. I would agree. Okay. And then with the other ones, like you see the blue here is small, here it's big. Purple's kind of similar. Blue is very different. Yellow is quite different as well. So there's a fair bit of variance for the other reasons, but definitely job seems to be consistent for both immigration and emigration, right? I agree. So let's write that as our main feature. Go ahead, members, and compose a nice sentence describing this clear main feature. Okay? All right. Let's see what sentence you come up with, what words you use to describe this main feature. Now, I think these pie charts, it's you're lucky if you get a question like this, because if you figure out what emigration means and you use it correctly, it's easier pie chart, but nevertheless, it definitely gives you good practice for pie charts. So Kisi says, at first glance, definite job is the main reason for people to move in and out of the UK. Okay. Yeah. Good. Yexton says, at first eye shot, it is clear that definite job was the major reason to go and to leave the UK. Watch the spelling and words at the end there, Yexton. Prachta Yadhav, nice to see you in class. It is observed that definite job possesses the highest and marginal difference in both cases. I get what you're saying, Prachta, but it's a little bit awkward. I would write it like this, Prachta. It's clearly observable that definite job is the highest percentage in both immigration and emigration. I think that's much clearer for the reader. Students, when you're writing your sentences, don't just focus on using quality academic language, but also make sure that you have clarity. Think about your writing from the reader's perspective. Okay? The marginal difference, Prajta, I probably wouldn't worry about that because we can get into that more when we go into the analysis. Okay? All right. Ferdov says, at first eye shot, it is clear that the two biggest reasons to immigrate to the UK are definite job and formal study. By the way, most individuals emigrate from the UK for job and work. I think it's too much for Dobbs. For the main feature, I think you're overdoing it. Okay, just focus on the job. All right, and then the rest of that you can put in the analysis. All right. Okay. Here is my sentence. Clearly, job opportunity is the major factor for people going to and from the UK in this particular year. Is this a good sentence? Mine? What do you think? Do you think it's a band 9 level sentence? Mine? Let's read the whole introduction. These two pie charts depict the 6 reasons stated for immigration and emigration to and from the United Kingdom in 2007. Clearly, job opportunity is the major factor for people going to and from the UK in this particular year. So, what do you think about my main feature sentence? Is that a band 9 or not? A little bit of a test for you. Bit of a thinker. Preeti says definitely. Always question your teachers, students. Teachers like to be questioned. I love to be questioned. None of us are perfect. I appreciate your kindness, Preeti and Yexton, but I would disagree. I think this is a band 7.5. Anybody know why? So why would clearly job opportunity as the major factor for people going to and from the UK in this particular year? Why would that be a band 7.5 at best? Anybody? Because I'm using the word opportunity. This is not clear writing, okay? In university, the professor would say, well, if I don't see the graph, right? Remember what I say, students, always, you have to write in such a way that if somebody does not see the graph, it's still clear and it's not confusing for them. Looking for work and definite job could both be job opportunity. So job opportunity does not accurately paraphrase definite job. It's confusing. Okay? Yeah, I think Kesey picked that up. Kesey's like, okay. So you have to be careful. The academic IELTS students, it's not just testing your English. That's why you can't just use fancy words and expect that you're going to get a high band score. It's testing your logic. It's testing your communication skills. So I have to change that word. Okay? So instead of job opportunity, I can paraphrase it. Does anybody know what word I can use? Starts with a GU. Okay? So what would be another way to say definite job without using the word definite here? And that would be much more accurate, and that would be band 9. So that difference is just one word in this case. So here I'm highlighting for you the importance of word choice. A lot of students that are at the band 7 level and they're looking to go to band 9, the big step they need to make in their studies is word choice, correct word choice. That's right, Amira, guaranteed. So clearly, a guaranteed job is the major factor for people going to and from the UK in this particular year. That's a band 9, because guaranteed accurately paraphrases definite job and does not confuse the reader with looking for work. Okay? So that's how it goes. Very good. All right, nice. So again, pay attention to word choice, students. Always, always review your writing. I'm going to make a note for you here. Okay. So when you're practicing at home, students, always review your writing. When practicing for IELTS. And check your word choice. Think. Can I use a better, more accurate term? Okay, check for that. All right, so now comes our analyses. And this is where we have to label our points. Always, students, always, always label 5, 6 points for comparison before you start writing. It's going to make for a much cleaner, more effective, better organized essay, okay? So I think it's clear that our first point will be this, right? So we're going to discuss definite job. We just said that as the main feature. So now we should state that in a clearer way. What should be our second one? So what would be a good second point? Okay. Hi, Atif. Good to see you in class. It was good talking with you as well. I'm glad you used the speaking services. Very nice. Ferdov says, second point should be formal study. Yeah, absolutely, because you have a massive slice here for formal study at 26%. And in contrast, you have a very tiny little slice here at 4%, right? So that contrasting comparison makes sense, okay? That really big difference, especially since this is the second main reason for people going to the UK, it makes a lot of sense to discuss that slice, okay? All right, what would be my third slice? So what would be my third? Let's see if your logic lines up with mine. So first, definite job. Second, formal study. Third, and I like how Amira is also agreeing with that as well. Okay, so somebody said looking for work. Yeah, here, okay, one way that you can kind of figure this out is additive, right? So if I add this 12% and I add this 22%, then I end up with 34%. And that's definitely the third main overall reason for movement. So looking for work, that would make sense. Okay. All right. What would be my fourth point for comparison? What would be my fourth point for comparison? Okay, so somebody says join or accompanying. 15 plus 13, that's roughly 28, sure. And then here we have other reasons, 11 to 14. Okay, well, maybe that one. All right, so we'll do this one for fourth. Okay, what would be the fifth? What would you choose for fifth? Would you choose other or no reason stated? What do you think? So what would be your logic there? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're looking for the last two, 5 and 6, which is going to be other and no reason stated. Which one would you say first? 5 for no reason or 5 for other? What do you think makes sense? I think there's a very clear answer here. Yeah, so other is very ambiguous, but no reason stated would be my number 5 for sure. Preeti, why do you think all of us are saying no reason stated is number 5 and this is number 6? So why do you think, Preeti, that we're saying this one? And hopefully, yeah, so Charlie Sen is kind of, I think, helping you with this answer. So Charlie Sen says because of the difference. What's the difference, Charlie? Or what's the reason? Or what's the difference, Preeti? Triple, right? It's triple. So 3 times as many people decided not to give the reason who left England than those who came to England, right? Okay. And Gonkai Ren, that's right. Other is the least important because other reasons, there could be lots and lots of smaller reasons why people are going, okay? All right, good. So I think we have a lot of clarity. Now, this is happening quickly, okay? In the real exam, you want to be quick and accurate about this. So go ahead, members, students, viewers, write the first sentence that's a little bit more clear and detailed regarding definite job, okay? So definite job, 29%, emigration, 30% immigration, okay? Write that sentence. I'm going to do the same. What we're going to do now is just go sentence by sentence, and I will try to read as many as possible of your sentences while finishing up this pie chart in this class, okay? All right. So I'm just shifting everything underneath the graph for logistic purposes. Okay, so the analysis or analyses for plural. Okay. All right. Keep it simple. Don't overthink it. All right. Your sentences don't need to be overly complicated or complex for task 1 or even for task 2. They just need to be clear, clean, and accurate. And I promise that you'll still get a very, very good band score. I think sometimes students think they need to write these super long, tricky sentences, but you really don't. Being concise and being clear is the most important. Okay. So this is what I have. Going into more detail, comma, that's a nice opening expression. This is not a word filler. It's accurate because we're going into more detail regarding this last statement here. Roughly a third of people who went to and from the UK in 2007 did so because of a definite work position. Okay. Yaxtan says, looking at the pie charts in more detail, it is evident that people left and came to the UK about a third for work position. Yaxtan, you have a few mistakes there. Number 1, you actually forgot to mention that it's for work in that sentence. Okay? That's very important. It's your subject. You can't miss the subject in your sentence, otherwise I'm just confused. Okay? So careful. It is evident. Students, when you're referring to what's happening in the chart, it is evident. Okay? Let me change the size of this here. It is, because it's evident now, right? You see why it's present tense? It's evident now. We can see it now. Okay. Ferdov says it is evident that roughly the same percentage of individuals immigrated and emigrated in the United Kingdom in 2007 for definite work. Okay, Ferdovs, you're also missing the subject. Students, really careful with that, okay? Don't miss the subject. Otherwise, it's very confusing for your reader. What do you mean? I mean, for Dobbs, at the end of the day, 100% of people who came, 100% who went, right? So you have to be careful with that. Gun Kairen says, obviously, definite job motivated people the most to move in and out of the UK, and the percentage is roughly equal, about 30%. That's pretty good, Gun Kairen. I like it. Gun Kairen, be careful with subjective words like motivated. I think it's acceptable in this case, but it's a little bit subjective what their motivation actually is, right? So it's okay. I think it's acceptable here, Gun Kairen. Just be careful with those subjective, opinionated words, okay? Amira says, when looking at the charts in more detail, charts, Amira, plural, in more detail, not details, okay? Roughly a third of people moved to and from the UK mainly for guaranteed jobs, period. You don't need the they had, Amira. It's unnecessary. Prajka, while looking at the charts in more detail, definite job is certainly the main reason for people to leave and come back to the UK. Prajka, that's a repeat of the most observable feature. Clearly, a guaranteed job is the major factor for people going to and from the UK in this particular year. In your analysis, you have to say more, like roughly a third of people. Okay, there has to be more detail there. Don't just repeat sentences, students. That's not good. You need to always make sure that your analysis is more. You should never be repeating information in task 1 or task 2. That's why I always tell students that your conclusion is not just a repeat of your introduction. Okay? All right, let's keep going. So we want to get through this. Point number 2. Let's get to that one. Point number 2 is formal study. Formal study is 26% for immigration to UK in 2007, and just 4% for emigration, for formal study. Okay, so write the full sentence for that. All right. Let's see what you come up with. Ferdov says the second reason to immigrate to the UK was formal study at 26%. However, the least number of individuals to emigrate from the UK for this reason just at 4%, was at 4%. Okay, Ferdovs, I get what you're doing there, and it's not bad. Couple of points for Dobbs. Number 1, percent. You shouldn't really write the word. Just use the symbol. Okay. Don't waste time and words, students, on symbols that you can easily write. So dollars, percents. Use the symbols. Okay, it's better. All right. If you use the word maybe just once, it's okay, but use the symbol instead. All right. The second point for Dobbs is I see what you're doing there. It's quite tricky. It's a little bit confusing. You're trying to include the concept that it was the lowest indicated reason for leaving the UK. That's tricky for Dobbs because other probably has a lot of smaller percentages if we actually know what it's about. So it's the lowest indicated reason for leaving the UK in that year. I think it's not necessary to include that for Dobbs for the IELTS. In university, you can go into that in a presentation. IELTS 150 to 220 words. I'd just leave that one for this essay. Okay. That's my opinion. It's very advanced to express that clearly, all in one sentence. Okay, just make the comparison between the 26 and the 4% instead. Okay, Charlie says, interestingly, roughly 1/4 of immigrants came to the UK for study, whereas only 4% of people left the UK for study purposes. Okay, again, Charlie, really nice writing. Don't repeat the word study. For this purpose, use your pronouns, okay? Charlie, pronouns for this purpose, okay? And watch your tense, Charlie. Only 4% of people left, because it was in 2007, right? The UK, big U, big K, for this purpose, okay? All right. Amira, typical study came as the second main factor for people to immigrate to the UK at 26% of the total, while it was a rare reason to leave the country at only 4%. Amir, a few corrections there. All right, this is my sentence here. Over a quarter of immigrants came for schooling to the UK in 2007, while just 4% left the country for the same reason, right? While is the dependent clause here, so there's no comma, Amira. Pay attention for that. It's the same as with yours, okay? All right, let's go to the next one here, students. So that was our second one, okay, check. Now we're on to the third. We agreed that third is looking for work, so I'm going to write that sentence. And I'll wake my camera up before I do that. Here we go. Okay. So, let's go with the third sentence now. Looking for work. So third, looking for work, immigration 12%, emigration 22%, almost double, right? Nearly double, just 2% shy of double. Okay. You don't have to include a lot of numbers, but sometimes it's not a bad idea. So this is my sentence here. Thirdly, nearly twice as many people left Britain looking for work at 22% than those who came to the country in hopes of finding a job at 12%. So notice all the paraphrasing I'm using here. At first I use the specific noun, Britain, okay? And then I use the subjective noun, country, okay? Looking for work, finding a job, all right? Again, paraphrasing as much as possible. This 12% is not absolutely necessary. This 22% is. Okay. All right, I'm going to keep going here, but members, push forward because I will read some of your statements and give you feedback. I just want to get a little bit ahead in the assignment, so I'm going to keep writing. Okay, so that was our third point, right? And then our fourth point was accompany, which is 15 and 13. It's quite a close proportion, so I can write that. Okay. Individuals that traveled to and from Britain in this year for residents to be with their relatives was almost the same at, now here I wrote to and from Britain, so I want to pay attention to that. To Britain was 15%, from Britain was 13%, was the same at 15 and 13%. Now notice how here I'm using the word because I'm not using symbols in two places. Was 15 and 13% respectively. This comma respectively tells my reader that the to was 15% and the from was 13%. Okay. All right. Moving along. So that was my fourth, right? Now I'm on to my fifth, which is the 6% of people that didn't give a reason for why they're going to the UK versus 18% of people who didn't give a reason for going away from the UK. So I'm going to keep going there. Okay. Another notable contrast is the proportion of people that did not indicate the reasons or their reasons for migration. Semicolon, because I'm joining a similar idea here. Okay, 3 times as many people neglected to mention their purpose for leaving the country at 18%, if I want to add that. Then those who moved to the UK. Okay? All right. Hi, Preeti. So I'm moving along here, all right? And I can see that some of you are still writing, which is great. You're listening to my instructions. Nice. I said that I would read some of your comments. So Prajta says the number of people moving to the United Kingdom to look for a job is around 12% and is observed to be half of those, proportionally half of those leaving the country for jobs or looking for jobs. Prajta, that's kind of a tricky way to write what you're saying there, but the biggest mistake, there's a couple of mistakes there in that statement, Prajta, but the biggest one is the word doubled. So 12% is observed to be half of the 22%. Okay, I think the logic there is a little bit mixed up. Okay. Amira, about 1/10 of immigrants entered the country looking for work. However, about double the amount of people left for the same reason. Double the percentage. We don't know the amount, Amira. Be really careful, students, with the word amount. Amount usually means that it's a specific number. Okay, if we had numbers like 1,000 people versus 2,000 people, then we can use the word amount, but we can't do that with percentages because we have no idea. You see what I mean, Amira? If this 100% equals 50,000 people, and this 100% equals 25,000 people, then the amount of people here and here is actually the same, right? Because this is double the proportion, but half the amount. I hope that makes sense, Amira. Okay, so again, students, remember, in the academic IELTS, you are being graded on logic and coherence as well. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, we don't know these numbers. We just know the proportions. So we can't speak to the numbers. When the questions look a little bit simpler, like you only have 2 pie charts instead of 4, sometimes it's a bit deceptive. It looks simpler, but you have to really pay attention to the way that the information is presented, because the difficulty might not be in the number of pie charts or the complexity of the numbers, but the actual data that you're being given. Okay, so be really careful, students. If there's a wise saying that we use in English, if it looks too good to be true, it might just be. Okay, so be cautious. All right. Okay, so last one, other. Okay, so 11 and 14%, 3% difference. Finally, with a difference of 3%, okay, or let's just keep it simple, 3%. 11% of people came to the UK for various reasons. And 14% left the UK for a number of reasons. Okay? Something like that. Now, if I'm running out of time, like if I've already spent, let's say like 18 minutes on this task 1, and obviously we've spent a lot more, I probably wouldn't even include other. So you can still get a band 9 if you don't include every piece of information. And in fact, some graphs and charts are too difficult to include every piece of information. In this case, other is trivial. It's not really that important to include. I mean, if you're fast and you can, then do it, include it, but otherwise, don't do it, okay? So if you're running out of time, don't take time from task 2 to include this kind of information. Finally, with a difference of 3%, 11% of people came to the UK for various reasons, and 14% left the UK for a number of reasons. It's not completely necessary, especially because we have no idea what those reasons are. Instead, what I would do is spend a minute to write a summary. Okay? So to sum up, some reasons for moving to and from the UK are proportionally similar such as work, while others are quite different, like study. Okay, that would be my summary. All right. After going through all those steps, I can clearly see that. Okay, what can we learn from this graph? That the proportion or percentage of people going to the UK, okay, for some of the reasons, it's quite similar, like accompanying someone that they love or for work, okay, while some reasons are quite different, like study. Okay, that would be my summary. That's what I've learned from observing this graph, okay? I hope that makes sense. Okay, students, that's your band 9. Let's read it from the top. Make sure it makes sense. And then we'll wrap it up for today. Beautiful writing. And again, students, if I didn't get to read all of your comments and writing, that's all I could fit in this class. But you're all definitely doing a great job, and practice is key to success. Okay? Charlie, if you don't write a summary, it's not necessarily that you will lose scores, but it's that you're not going to gain scores. It's not quite the same, so it's not a mistake to not write a summary, but if you do write a summary, Charlie, you might be able to pick up an extra few points. That could be the difference for a half band. Okay? Preeti, it's not a conclusion, it's a summary. Summary and conclusion are two different concepts, okay? It's important to know the difference, Preeti, between a conclusion and a summary, okay? All right, so I'm going to read this, and then we'll wrap it up. These two pie charts depict the 6 reasons stated for immigration and emigration to and from the United Kingdom in 2007. Clearly, a guaranteed job is the major factor for people going to and from the UK in this particular year. Going into more detail, roughly a third of people who went to and from the UK in 2007 did so because of a definite work position. Secondly, a major difference is observable when it comes to formal education. Over a quarter of immigrants came for schooling to the UK in 2007, while just 4% left the country for the same reason. Thirdly, nearly twice as many people left Britain looking for work at 22% than those who came to the country in hopes of finding a job at 12%. Individuals that traveled to and from Britain in this year for residents to be with their relatives was almost the same at 15 and 13% respectively. Another notable contrast is the proportion of people that did not indicate their reason for migration. 3 times as many people neglected to mention their purpose for leaving the country at 18% than those who moved to the UK. Finally, with a difference of 3%, 11% of people came to the UK for various reasons, and 14% left the UK for a number of reasons. To sum up, some indications for moving to and from the UK are proportionally similar, such as work, while others are quite different, like study. Okay? I'd probably change the word reasons a couple of times, just because it's a bit repetitive. So again, using some paraphrasing. That would be your band 9. All right, students, that's it for this class. Fantastic job. Members, give yourselves a pat on the back. You've done a great job. Amira, Prajkta, nice to see all that sharing. Atif, I would do an overview and a summary. Your overview and summary are not the same. Notice how my overview and my summary are different, Atif? And both are very good. Both are good pieces of information for the reader. Okay? All right, everyone. For lots more HD videos, Task 1 videos for comparing maps, flowcharts, pie charts, line graphs, and so on. We have lots of great HD videos on our websites in the premium packages, ahelp.com for academic, glshelp.com for general. Check us out there. In 30 minutes, I'll be back with some listening sections 3 and 4. Hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye for now.